Joining me today is my good friend. We're going to be covering our fourth part discussion. The title is going to be, Are You a Cross-Functional Influencer? Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Jim. It's great to be back. I've really enjoyed doing all these episodes with you. I'm going to miss it when we're not doing any future episodes, at least right now.
Exactly, right now. So, Mike, let me just open up and ask this first question. Obviously, cross-functional influencer. What is a cross-functional leader? What is cross-functional leadership, and why is it important in today's organizations?
Yeah, in today's world, I mean, it's been the focus of these these episodes. It is about new technology and automation and how it's disrupting the way we do business, the services and products we offer, and how those services and products will be delivered to the customer. So technology and automation initiatives are often cross-functional. They're usually centralizing a common process across organizational functions using some type of a more efficient, more automated approach. So many organizations have ERP systems, enterprise resource planning systems that have process modules. Good example of that is, in an ERP system is a purchase to pay multifunctional process. So when companies implement or upgrade their ERP system, then they're going to be involving procurement, inventory management, logistics, accounts payable. All those are examples of cross-functional approaches. Another one, probably in the corrosion industry, if you think about it, in previous episode, we talked a lot about using drones for bridge inspections. And if a company is going to begin offering the use of drones in doing those bridge inspections, they're going to need a cross-functional approach, a cross-functional team, and it could be finance, that because of the capital investment. There's the procurement, since drones will have to be purchased or leased. There's going to be operations, about the inspection team's approach. Marketing and sales is going to be involved in pricing. So it's incredibly important in these projects to have a leader who can influence the stakeholders as well as those involved in doing the project. So a leader of a cross-functional team also only has influence, not control, because if you think about it, the people that are assigned to the project team actually report to someone else. They report to the leader of their home function, and in essence, they're participating, from their home function on this project.
So, what are the difficulties in working and influencing across functions?
Yeah, well, we know influencing someone, especially someone in another function, whether it's a business opportunity or a solution or innovation, it's going to be challenging, because a person that we're trying to influence, oftentimes you're trying to change what they already find comfortable, and their greatest allegiance is often to the goals of their home function. So this makes your ability to influence them a whole lot easier said than done. Cross-functional projects usually have to build a foundation. Because there's a start and a finish to the project, it's so important for them to build a foundation of a high-performance project team. And so building trust, having vigorous debate, having clear decisions, being accountable to one another, these are all important elements of a high-performance project team. And the other, I think, very common challenge in driving cross-functional change is that authorities and responsibilities of those driving the change are not always clear. So who actually develops the requirements? Who makes what decision? Who has veto power? What scope of work has to be collaborative and what can be more independent? So it can be very challenging for an influencer because the change they're driving often is going to result in resistance to change back in their home function.
So when it comes to professional skills, what skills should I build to be a cross-functional influencer?
Well, luckily, Jim, you were part of the previous episode where we talked about getting in the tank with the sharks and about making your case. And those, all the viewers who are watching this that saw that influencing others by making a compelling case is an important skill. And it not only involves having sizzle in your influence, but also being thorough in articulating the unique advantage of your solution, and also having a good financial model and addressing some of that resistance as well as showstopper risks. Another skill that's important in cross-functional influence is to have knowledge and expertise that others don't have. That makes you a valuable member of that cross-functional team because you bring a different perspective. And that's so important. Then it's important to increase your knowledge and become skilled at broadening your perspective and to learn from different points of view. It was like Confucius said, I think it was to know what you know and to know what you don't know, that's true knowledge. That's something that always makes me think. And the third thing that comes to mind is to be a good cross-functional influencer, it's the ability to engage in a team dialogue. And dialogue starts with a willingness to both be influenced and to be an influencer. So when people feel like they're being heard, they're more likely to hear others. So one of the common facilitation roles that I play is around roles and responsibilities alignment sessions for major projects. And I've done a lot of this in refinery and chemical plant expansions. They're cross-functional projects. It was interesting, when I first started doing these sessions, I was all about call it the deliverable of team members updating roles and responsibilities documents. So we had those documents accurate. And I began to see that the energy in the room was not about the documents. The energy was the highest when team members were having a dialogue about who is responsible for what and what project issues and challenges mattered most. Anyways, a good book I'd recommend it. I'm sure you can put in the information on this on your YouTube channel. It's called Cross-Functional Influence by Susan Finnerty. And so that it's an easy read, but it really does talk about, some of these skills that matter.
Yeah, definitely. I'll put the link to the book in the video description. So when it comes to success stories, do you have any success stories that you could share about cross-functional teamwork?
Well, just since I was talking a little bit about these refinery and chemical plant expansions, it does make me think of a good story about that. I was working with this refinery that was expanding their capacity, and they wanted to change the blend of the crude being refined. It was about a $500 million capital project. And the cross-functional team was comprised of the refinery owner as well as an engineering contractor that was doing the design work for all the piping and the electrical and mechanical equipment and so forth. So all the project functions were represented in both companies. So there was project managers on both sides, process engineers, instrumentation and electrical engineers, project controls, health and safety, quality. So they had all these functions. So it was not only cross-functional, but it was cross-organizational. And I always remember this story. One of the activities that I did in this team alignment event to help them start to work cross-functionally was this exercise I call Lego Man. And in Lego Man, there was about 35 people on the team that were in this event. And that I split them up into breakout groups, probably about 6 groups, 6 people each approximately. And each of the teams had to build one of these Lego men. And each breakout team had to plan and build a Lego man based on a prototype at the front of the room. It's not so simple to do because there's a lot of complexities both in the design and the communication around building this Lego man. Well, so many of the project teams, and I've done this for many years, they failed miserably in terms of the results and did a really poor job of communicating and aligning as a team around the requirements. So if they were going to be successful cross-functionally, they really did have to communicate and align. Well, when we were debriefing the results as a large group, most of the teams were laughing about their poor results because it was just a Lego man, not the refinery. And I was a little disappointed because I'd done this many times and it was generally a good experience. Well, is most interesting was what happened at the break after this debrief. The project manager came up to me and he laughed. He goes, that exercise was great. What happened in that Lego man exercise is exactly the issue that is happening right now in the projects. Teams are circulating requirements by email and not getting any responses. And because no one responds, they take it as no changes are needed and we can move forward. So, and then later on, the implications are truly considered and it's much more costly to do the change and the redesign. So he brought the issue up after the break and the team agreed that from that point forward, there would be a verbal dialogue about the requirements and related implications, a commitment to influence one another when there were differences of opinion, and to have a formal sign off by all the team members before the design requirements would be final. And the project director, the one who had accountability for the project, said, this was a great meeting. I think we saved $10 million the last couple of days. And it just kind of floored me. It was a little surprise. But he said, I'm confident based on what we did and how, and some of the changes that we're going to be reducing rework and redesign costs. So the project actually from design to construction was highly successful. And I don't know what the final number was, but I do know that the costs of the project were less than the $500 million authorized. So to me, that was a great success story on how they looked at cross-functional collaboration and influence and the impact it could make on a project of that size.
What I find interesting about that story is you took something that is a learning tool, Legos, that are a learning tool for children.
Yeah.
And to the adult children to be able to do the Legos and really come up with that result, the failure turned into a success. So some of the things that I've learned from, my training with you is that really when we're looking at organizations today, you're not dealing with most organizations being compartmentalized. They're lean, they're focused, but they're cross, like you say, cross departmentalized. And you have to be able to flow across those different departments. The other thing too that I picked up from the time that I've had training with you is that to be a true professional influencer in an industry, you have to be able to be receptive to be influenced yourself, because you think you have all the answers, but in most cases you don't, and you have to be open and receptive to that. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you've gotten that, because that is such an important characteristic.
And it's so critical to the success of an organization. It doesn't matter if you're a nonprofit, if you're a for-profit, if you're governmental. It's really important to have this cross functionality and to also to develop yourself as a leader within these type of environments, because that's the future of businesses and organizations. We're not dealing with the old archaic ways of doing business of the past centuries. Right. And so, I do appreciate this opportunity to do these 3 parts with you. And for those who are watching this episode, just coming into it without seeing the 3 previous, I will create a playlist and also put that link also in the description for the video, so you can go back and watch the other 3 episodes, because put together, this is a very powerful series for you, and you're going to learn so much about yourself, and also to how to kind of refocus yourself and things that you need to work on to improve, not only for yourself professionally, but for your company, for your business, or whatever function you do operate. I mean, it could be put into this stuff's put into daily life too. Interacting with friends and family and other associates too. So,
Yeah.
Mike, I thank you so much for this opportunity to have this 4-part series with you.
Thank you very much. I've truly enjoyed it, Jim, and good luck in taking all the great work you're doing forward.
Now, the one thing I did want to ask you, in closing out this series, is there anything that you would want to leave, like a last minute thing you'd want to leave with the viewers?
Well, no, I really just want to echo what you said. I think there's we all are in a changing world, and the more we can be leading with influence, and how we can explore for opportunities and be an advocate and make effective cases and really influence others cross-functionally. Those are important skills of the future. So I think you summed it up very well. So again, thank you for the opportunity.
Not a problem. Mike, have a great day.
Thank you very much.